Good morning. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter day yesterday and feel a sense of renewal. We have springtime, beautiful weather for now, and hopefully we have a new outlook on life. My motto is always live life to the fullest because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. So I'm happy to be here, and I want to wish you well. And now, if we would have sad news, Harriet, everyone knows Harriet and loves Harriet, didn't realize it, is in the hospital. And hopefully she's doing better. I think a little bit of pneumonia. So Patsy Kicklighter notified me this morning, and she is right there at the keyboard. So we will stand and let's sing a song up here. Did it work?
My country is something sweet and of liberty, of thee I sing. And where the pilgrims lie on every mountainside,
Let freedom ring. If everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I'd like to introduce Betty Lou Jonas, who's going to introduce our reflection speaker.
Have you ever had known a name that is entirely opposite of the person? Our resident today is Lorraine Storms. Storms, what a misnomer for this quiet, gentle soul. It has been such a pleasure getting to know Lorraine so that I could better introduce her to you. She was born and raised in Hoboken, New Jersey, and she still has that wonderful accent. Her stories of her growing up, where her dad and the neighbors worked on the big city docks, the town was 1 mile square. There was the German part, the Italian part, and of course the Irish. Frank Sinatra's mother was a neighbor of theirs. She went to, after high school graduation, she went to a nearby town in Inglewood, where she graduated from nursing school. She married, she began her nursing career, and she had 4 daughters. Now there are 9 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren. Her husband had a career as a flight engineer, and that is what brought them to Florida and eventually to retirement in Tallahassee. Please note that she did not retire from an active career in nursing until she was 82. After losing her husband, we gained her as a wonderful Westminster Oaks neighbor, where she is involved in exercise. She is a sparkler, a Catholic communicant, and she continues her fabulous needlepoint. Lorraine Storms.
My speech today, or my talk today, is about Hoboken. Has anyone ever been to Hoboken, New Jersey? It's about 15 minutes from downtown New York via the Lincoln Tunnel. And it's a 63 bus that cost 50 cents then. Oh, I'm sorry. And my first question is, do you wonder how you arrived in Tallahassee? I know a lot of you were born and raised here, but most people come from other parts of the country or towns. And many of you grew up here. I grew up in Hoboken and was famous for being the home and birthplace of Frank Sinatra. And I didn't know him, but his mother's apartment was across the backyard, and you could see it, but of course she didn't socialize with the ordinary crowd. All right. If you've seen the movie On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando, it was on recently, about 2 weeks ago, and that was filmed in Hoboken. And my father worked on the docks from the time he was 14 until he was 65. That day he left and retired that day. He became a commercial checker, which means that when they loaded everything on these big chained platforms, he counted everything that went on it and everything that came off it. And it was run by the mafia. 80% of Hoboken was Italian, 10% was Irish, and 10% was German. And they all lived in separate surroundings. And so they called it the docks. He started at age 14 when he graduated from 8th grade. It was 1918, and they had this universal flu that was going around, plus the First World War. And he was born with some kind of a congenital eye condition, which I don't remember. And so he just wasn't good to be in the military, and he was too young. So he quit school, and he had 11 siblings, and 4 of them died from the flu. Catholic family, of course. And my grandfather worked in the post office there in Hoboken, and he even had a postal station named William Harriet Post Office. And when Frank Sinatra died, they took his name off and put Frank Sinatra's name on it. I know. Hoboken was filled with immigrants. It was unbelievable amount of and as I said, 80% of them were Italian. I even dated a boy for 2 years whose name was Rudolph Valentino. Okay. My father began to have lots of friends on the dock, and he became very involved, and it gave him a certain amount of power. If he needed something done, he could go to whoever was in charge that day. And when I graduated from nursing school, which was in a very up-class neighborhood, Englewood, New Jersey, and when I graduated and came back home to Hoboken, I went to work at St. Mary's Hospital, which was kind of run down, catered to, I don't want to sound snobbish or anything, but a lower class group of people as compared to Englewood, which was a very upper class community. And my father said to me one day, "How do you like working at St. Mary's?" And I said, "I don't. I'm not happy there." So he said, "Would you like to work in public health?" And I said, "I would love it. That would be working for the city." So within 2 days, I got a call from the supervisor of public health, and they hired me. but I had to be interviewed by the mayor, and he said I was the very first person the city had ever hired that couldn't vote for him. And I said, I'm the very first person that can't vote against you either. And one of my friends who graduated from Englewood with me was also working at St. Mary's, and she said, how did you get that job? And I said, do you have an uncle that works on the docks? And she said, yes, Uncle Frank. I said, well, give him a call and tell him what you'd like. And she did, and within 2 days she got and she didn't have any problem because I had already paved the way. Living in Hoboken was very interesting. People watched out for each other's children. A lot of the mothers couldn't speak English. They were either from Italy or some other place. And they would put a pillow on the windowsill and put their arms out there, and they would watch everybody's kids, make sure everybody was safe and doing well. In that apartment that we grew up in, I had a sister as well. I think the rent was $95. And my son-in-law Googled it one day, and the rent now is $2,700. But Hoboken has become a very upper-class community. A lot of celebrities live there because you can be in Manhattan in no time. So that's why that is. And it takes 15 minutes, as I said. And I already told you about my grandfather his name being taken off the post office. And my father worked on the docks until he was 65. My mother, who worked as a waitress in an ice cream parlor, eventually ended up in the dining room of Bethlehem Steel, which was very nice. And my sister became a nurse at St. Mary's and married a doctor from Ireland and had 9 children. And I married a great guy who worked for Pan Am as a flight engineer, and I had 4 daughters. 2 are nurses, one's a doctor, and one sells cancer drugs. So they're all involved one way or another in the medical profession. And my youngest daughter came here, Jennifer, she came here. She had gone 2 years to Rollins and transferred to Florida State in her junior year, and she never came home. She's been here since she went to school there, and that was one of the reasons why my husband and I moved to town, because we didn't have any family in where we were living in Plantation. So we came here, and he passed away after a year suddenly. We didn't expect it, and so then they started to ask me to please move into Westminster Oaks. So I decided to do that, and that was a very good move, and I've enjoyed it, and I've been here 3 years almost. And I think August it'll be 3 years, and I've met all you lovely people, and that's about it. And I also have a blessing, which is an Irish blessing, and it says, may your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness comes through your door. Amen.
Thank you, Lorraine. You know, we never know what fascinating lives we have lived before we come to Westminster until we get to know people and talk about it. So it's really a jewel to have her here, and thank you for sharing. What a story. At this time, we need to approve our minutes from the last Residents' Council meeting on March 17th, and Darlene has shared all those minutes. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Minutes approved. And now we've got our treasurer's report with Gary Stilwell.
Are you doing that? Okay, thank you. Morning. Okay, state of the finance is the percentage of the fiscal year has gone 96% by. And so what I'm reading you is pretty well the end of the fiscal year. The budgeted income was $38,000. Our total income was $5,000, which is actually pretty good since the boutique wasn't open. And the percent of the budgeted income remains at 86%. The expenses, budgeted expenses, was $38,000, and we've done better there. We've spent $27,000 on it, and the remaining amount is budgeted expense remaining is 28%. Our bank account general fund is $3,900. The employee gift fund is down to $216. The money market and CD is now $108,000. The total of our accounts is a very nice $112,000. So we're doing very well. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the budget ad changes. Since we're at the end of the fiscal year, we need to rectify a few overages. So we need to get the library subscriptions has got to go up $1,400. The players $750. Library supplies is $200, and the welcoming committee is $50. So that will balance the budget when we add those to it. So any questions about anything I said? One more? Okay. Oh, forward. Okay, is that money markets? 108,000. What? Well, what I gave them was $108,000. So anyway, yeah, thank you for catching that. Yeah. Sure enough. Yeah, there's supposed to be a comma and an extra zero in there. So anyway, appreciate the catch. Okay, so that's where we stand. Yeah, question? Special sale got $2,250. Oh, the rest of it was the first 2 months of the fiscal year. The boutique was working, so that was about $1,000 there. And then we had a few other minor income making things during the year. But at any rate, we ended up with $5,500 to the good. Okay, anything else?
Okay, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report. A second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, and the treasurer's report approved. I do want to thank the boutique people, last week ago Thursday, I think it was, to open the garage at the Meandering Lane Party House. And we had a lot of fun, and I came home with a Lazy Boy recliner lift chair. So it's exciting, and thank you for spending the time. We're hopeful that maybe within the year we can have our boutique open, but and they may be looking or look forward to an announcement, because I think they're thinking of having a clothing sale in the hallways. And I want to thank Lorraine, because Lorraine didn't mention when they were mentioning all the activities that she participates in. She's one of our special boutique people, so we want to thank you. Okay, now I'm going to ask Sue Wattenberg to come up, because we have a few new residents. You take it.
Good morning. This morning, I'd like to introduce, first of all, Sue and Mark Canning, who live on Parchment Cove. If you'd like to stand up just briefly. See you? Okay. Sue is from Durham, New Hampshire, and Mark's home base is Nebraska. As an Air Force brat, he's lived many places, including spending 8 years in Europe. They initially met in high school in Durham and reconnected some years later and were married in 1971. Sue is a member of Phi Beta Kappa and graduated from Miami University of Ohio in the classics in 1971. Mark is a member of Beta Gamma Sigma and graduated from FSU in 1974 with a degree in finance. Prior to that, he served in the Army in the security agency. Mark and Sue have one son, Matthew, who was born in Panama City in 1977, and he now lives with his wife in Atlanta. A managerial position opened for Mark in 1980 that enabled them to move to Tallahassee, and he ended up working as financial administrator for the Office of Financial Regulation. Sue worked for the Florida Board of Bar Examiners and the state of Florida. Her final position was as the Florida administrator for a private company. Since their retirement in 2011, they have traveled extensively in Europe. I know they're members of OLLI, which I'm also a member of. Sue has devoted many hours to volunteering at her church, and Mark loves to play golf and is a member of a choir. I'd like now to introduce Parry Nouse, who lives in Chasen Gardens. Parry was born in Milwaukee but grew up in Ohio. She's also lived in the Clearwater area and Panama City Beach and moved to Tallahassee, where she now has been living for several years. I'm sorry. I wear hearing aids, and my phone is ringing in my hearing aids, and I can't hear anything else. Sorry. I did turn it off so nobody else could hear it. Parry was a professor of nursing for over 40 years. She taught at the University of Virginia, at Yale, and Gulf Coast College. She enjoys walking, doing puzzles, listening to music, especially Baroque, and she's looking forward to participating in the many classes and activities provided here. Her dog Marty is already enjoying exploring the beautiful grounds of Westminster. Thank you very much.
When we were discussing the budget and we look at how much money we have, we would like as a board to each year, and Lanny had reminded me, to have a special project that we would fund that would be something that we could look at and say that the year that we were serving on this board was productive. It seemed like everything that we brought up, the Ed Foundation took it over. And, you know, our Ed Foundation has been unbelievable. Is it called Ed Foundation? No. Our Cultural Endowment Foundation. I'm back in school again. Anyway, so there's been a discussion with the Grounds Committee over this last year, and it's a beautification project. And I'm asking now Sonny Phillips, who's the chair of the Grounds Committee, to come and to share this project that we are excited about supporting. So, Sonny?
So good morning. I taught physical education for several years, and so I'm sure even without a mic you can hear me. But understand. Okay, this project was started in March of last year. It's a proposal to beautify and preserve the holding pond that's on Meandering Way. Right now it's just kind of a grassy holding pond. So we have consulted with the Leon County, who maintains the holding ponds, or at least makes sure that we all do what we're supposed to do with the holding ponds. And we've worked with an arborist to identify the correct trees. and a golf group that identifies grasses that should be around water areas. And we're proposing to the council for $5,000 to put 20 to 25 trees, cypress, weeping willow, around that pond, plus grasses to cover those really ugly white pipes that are sticking up. And it won't prevent them from mowing properly. So that's what our proposal is. I don't know if you have any questions.
The proposal was brought to us at our briefing meeting 2 weeks ago, and we did have a very positive support. So I would like a motion to approve the $5,000 for the beautification project. I will. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Any questions? Any issues? Yes, Mike? Well, this project is for the first holding pond. Now, who's to say that other projects will be coming forth later on? But I think we will pursue with this one because we know it's. When they brought it earlier, it was sort of a generalization of a beautification projects, and we didn't have really specifics, or we didn't have data, we didn't have figures. And thanks to Sunny and her committee, and working with Tim and working with Keister, they have come up with this plan, and so we're very excited about moving forward with this. Joanne? As soon as possible. She met with the arborist last week or so, and Tim and Keister and Keister would be doing the work, and we have connections to get the right trees, and Sunny is a mover and a shaker, so we're excited to have this project. So if there are any other questions or comments? The question was, what is the timetable? And, I think as soon as possible, as soon as we can get moving on it, and Keister and the purchase of the trees and so forth. So we're excited. Marilyn?
I was wondering, when you plant the cypresses, there's going to be a whole new ecosystem created there, which would be bulrushes and birds, and also, is maintenance going to be directed to allow that area to be naturalized?
That's a very good question. So I don't know if you've been watching the. Okay. So the question is, since we're planting the trees and the grasses, will maintenance stop balding, for lack of a better word, the grassy area? Because once you establish trees and grasses, then you have wildlife coming in there. That's part of the point. So maintenance does understand. In fact, if you'll notice, they're not cutting the grass quite as closely, and there are some flowers blooming in that first holding pond. So we brought this to their attention 6 months ago. So they have not been cutting it as closely or as often to allow some of those grasses to grow. So yes, they understand that it should be left to a certain height, but you have to also understand that the county requires them to mow. So, because that area drains, where all those rocks are at the very top, that's what drains into that holding pond. The purpose is to hold water. And so you have to allow that to occur. And so, there's a fine line between protecting wildlife and also making your holding pond actually hold water. So,
And you've met with the city.
we met with the county. They are the ones who regulate the holding ponds. We've met with arborists. James Keister has the plants. He can get them. He will plant them. We gotta go put posts out, flags out. And hopefully Hollow Oak Trail and everyone on Meandering Lane coming in will be able to really enjoy the planting of these. You're talking about 20 to 25 trees, which is a lot of trees, so. Are there any other questions while I'm standing here? Cool.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we had a motion, we had a second. All in favor of approving the $5,000 for the beautification project? Aye. Okay, approved, thank you. A lot of work going into that. Okay, now I'm going to ask Mike Rashat to come up because he's a chair of our communications committee, and we've got some new things to talk about.
Oh, good. Yeah, hey, good morning. This is a big week for My W Life. There's lots of stuff going on, and so this is kind of the kicking off part of this week is coming from the Communications Advisory Committee. And just as a reminder, most of them are here. Lynn Brady, Fran Conaway, Rochelle Davis, Janet Ferris, Jay Newman, Bob Parker, Linda Stalvey, and I have been this group, more or less, with a couple of other people who have come and gone, for a couple of years. And 2 years ago, when all this started, one of the first things the committee said was, you know, when you look at My W Life and you open it up, it's kind of a hodgepodge of all kinds of stuff that's just kind of accumulated over the ages. And what we really do at some point is reorganize this thing. Well, a subcommittee was formed, and it happened, Janet Ferris and I were the subcommittee 2 years ago, and we decided with the rest of the committee, there's no sense in doing this until we get a clearer picture of what the whole picture, the changes that we're going to make in the way. However, that moment has arrived, and we are wanting to tell you about two changes that the committee has got underway now. One has already been made, but the other may be made while we're sitting here, for all I know, as I'll explain to you in a minute. So the first thing we want to tell you about is, if I can make this move. The black one that doesn't have an arrow on it? Yeah. Okay, so last week, well, actually 2 or 3 weeks ago, the committee decided that it needed to decide how we're going to reorganize these icons. And actually, at the last resident council meeting, I thought what we could do is have the residents help us do that. But some things happened where later this week, Orlando is coming up here, we'll say at the end of this talk, a little presentation. And we rushed to do this ahead of time without input from you folks at the moment. But the idea was to try to make this thing a little more easy for residents when they open it up to find the things that they might want to use. And so Janet and I made a proposal to the committee. The committee met with Laura Seaton is basically on our committee. Jane is our liaison. And so the group spent a lot of time 2 or 3 weeks ago saying, well, here's what we think we ought to do. Let's move this here and that there. It would make sense to do this and the other thing. And finally, we agreed on something. So this is the order that is going to appear maybe later today. The request was made last week to Orlando to reorganize this, and apparently it's just a matter of doing it, not getting a lot of permissions about it. And that hasn't happened, at least not when I just looked before I came up here, but it's about to happen in the next day or so. So all the icons that you're familiar with, or most of them, are all going to be there. They're just going to be in a different order. So when you look at it, there's a new one in the upper right-hand corner, wherever that is, and it is a new item I'm going to talk about in a moment, a user guide for MyW Life that the committee has prepared. But beyond that, you're going to find the things that you folks use the most. For example, the dining is there. The events is now the third item up at the top. Events used to be 22 icons way down in the pack, and everybody uses events. Most people use the events. So now we've reorganized some things in this format, and I think they're all pretty much there, with an exception I'll come to in a minute. So that's the first thing, and I think this has been announced in Lynn, and I think the weekly update, you may have already become aware of these changes that are happening. So just to let you know about them. Now, the new item that's already on MyW Life, and if you get your phone out, you can look at it right now, but I'll show you what it looks like on a slide here, is a user guide. And the user guide is something that begins with this icon, how to use MyW Life. And when you click on that, what you get inside that icon now, which you can see, and you can scroll through it, is all of the icons in the new order with an icon and a little 2 or 3 paragraph at the most, or sentence descriptions of what the icon contains and what the icon can do for you, to tell you how to use it. And I will say that there are 32 of these if you just scroll down through them. And the people, Janet and I did this together and wrote these descriptions, and we can modify them, but I will say that as people who have been on the committee for 2 years, we hadn't spent a lot of time looking at some of the icons, I confess that. And when you get down and you have to write a description of what the icon or the module does, it kind of brings you to attention about it. So we learned a lot by going through it, and I think you guys might find it interesting just to go through it. Even you may know what they are, but there's some icons that have got some descriptions in them. So that's the second thing that's there. Are you able to do it? You guys look at, yeah, you can see it's there. You may have already looked at it. It's been up there for 2 or 3 days, and I think it could be useful. Now, one of the questions is, we have a directory problem for contacting people. We have at least 2, maybe 3 directories. And the one directory, which is the so-called resident directory, that's awfully unclear, isn't it? At least it is to me. It's not fuzzy over there. But the resident directory is a corporate directory, and it has some issues. It's searchable. It's good in many respects. We're going to be working on that as a committee fairly soon. But what we decided to do was to combine both the printable resident directory with the resident photos that are both done here and have been done here for many years by volunteers or and staff. So they're now under something called the other resident directories. So what you'll find is, well, we didn't know what to call it. We only have so much room, actually. So the resident directory, which you will see, is the standard corporate directory, and right beside it in the new format is going to be the other resident directories. And if you open that up, you will see in there the printable directory, all of it's in there, as well as the photos directory. You can get to both of them. The printable directory used to have an icon that had a camera on it. Nobody could figure that out, including Lynn Kimmel, who does that. Why has it got a camera? We don't know. So that icon is gone, but you'll find the labels inside there. So those are the 2 major changes, the new organization, the addition of, that we're announcing now, the addition of the user guide, and then just for those of you who will wonder, where is the camera icon and the printable resident directory? It's right there next door to the resident directory under other resident directories. Maybe we'll come up with a better label for that later, but that's it. So those are the main things I want to talk to you about. Just remind you of, that's already been announced. But I did want to also point out that how the icons appear on your device will depend on which device you're looking at it. We don't have any control over that. Just to be clear, there are often questions, how come I can't see the way things you present here, it doesn't appear on my screen. And if you take your iPhone and put it into portrait view, what you'll find is all the icons are listed as one line each. And they go down, and if you keep going, you'll go through all 30-some icons. Okay? If you turn it landscape, it doesn't change. There's still one line at a piece. Okay? If you opened up the same page on an iPad, what you find here is, if you do it in portrait, you get 4 icons listed across the page each time. And if you turn it sideways, you get 5 icons across the page. And then if you open it on your computer, these are my devices, you get 3 icons across the page. And we have no control over that. That's the device. And so when people say, well, how come when you do this, I can only get 3 or 2 or 1 or what have you, it all has to do with what you're looking at. It's all stored in the same way. Okay? So I just wanted to make that point, since it's a question we do get. And finally, just to remind you that McGuire on Thursday will have Wendy Tameret from Orlando coming to tell us, including our committee, by the way, we're not sure what's happening exactly, a new way to look at MyWLife when you open it up and use it. I'm not really sure what that's going to involve, but please come and think about doing it. And we're also, the committee is interested in knowing, after this week with the changes, how you react to it, and let us know about our changes and about Orlando's changes that Wendy Tameret will describe. And you can send an email to me. You find myself in any of the directories, if you like, as the chair of that committee. And we meet next time, May the 2nd, in the fireside room. So we're going to discuss whatever we hear back from everybody and other things that we're going to keep doing, just to let you know. And finally, let me just ask, are there any questions that I could answer at this point about what we're doing and expecting for the rest of this week? Yes? The question is, what movements are being taken to update the photos directory? Yeah? Is that correct? Yeah. That directory has been a bit of an issue for us. It's run by a volunteer and has been for years. And I believe, the best we can figure out, it includes the photos that are taken when new people arrive. So the new people today, we've just heard, will look that way for the next 20 years, right? So if you wanted to see someone who's been here for 20 years in a time frame, that's the place to go. Now, there are people in there that are no longer with us, and there are people in there who are not in there, who might have been in there. And we have not been able to sort of understand how to influence that yet. And I'm not sure we should. It's a volunteer committee, a volunteer group has run this and for many years. And so if you have some suggestions for us, we'd be glad to hear. You worked on it before with Gary? Yeah. Well, Gary did a terrific job rescuing it from its catastrophic situation a few years ago, apparently. So that's what I can tell you about the photos directory. We have kind of taken a hands-off view of it as something that the committee, that the volunteers do. Good. And any other questions or comments? All right, well, we'll see you at Thursday at Wendy Tameret's, and then we go to a new version, apparently, of MyWLife on Friday.
I will mention that when you go on resident directory, we have people that don't want their picture taken, and we have people that really don't want information shared. But you can update on the resident directory. You can add an updated picture. You can update your interest. You can do that yourself. I think Mike might have shared that at the last meeting. But if you need help, Asia and Her crew is always available for you to do that, so just a reminder. And now we're going to have Marie Cowart to come and an update on our lower level.
Hi, everybody. The members of this committee are Carol Bruley, Bob Davis, Robin Gray, Elmina Pettit. Jane Hughes has attended all of our meetings, and well, that goes back a couple of years, doesn't it? I'm so sorry. I know better. Jane Hudson has attended all of our meetings, and I serve as chair. Within the last month, 3 of us were able to tour the lower level with Shannon and Chris Wickberg, who's the vice president for construction at Westminster Services. And we have, over the past almost a year, submitted 4 interim reports. Because of the poor piping in Oak South and the multiple problems that have occurred there, the project to replace that piping has been funded with capital improvement funds, and it will be completed before Oak South lower level is open. Meanwhile, the lower level of the Perry building is progressing. As you know, maintenance is already moved back into their original space. There was a recent leakage, and that has really delayed things, so that the clinic had to be refurbished a second time, and it's scheduled to be open next. Meanwhile, what we will see when the lower level is opened is that we will have increased resident space in the fitness center, in the table tennis room, which we'll probably rename, and in the boutique. The anticipated date of opening is completely unknown, so but I'll be very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
We can all say a little prayer, right, for the construction. Okay, now we've got Sally Batsine, who's going to come and give us an update on the FLICRA.
Hello, everybody, and welcome new members. In case you're curious, what is FLICRA? It stands for the Florida Life Care Residents Association. So FLICRA is our ears and eyes at the legislature. FLICRA looks out for the residents' interests in the laws that are being passed as we speak. And you know, this year we've had this big controversy about new legislation that the Department of Insurance Regulations had put forth. And as it turned out, it's dead. So we were, FLICRA was hoping we could keep some of the things that were in there that protected the residents, but Leading Age, which is the lobbying group that lobbies for the owners and operators, they wanted the bill killed so they could start over next year. So they won, I guess you could say. And so the bill is dead as we speak. And next year, there's hopefully will be more of a coming together of Leading Age and FLICRA to come up with mutually agreeable parts of the bill. Well, here's what I want you to mark your calendars, and this will be forthcoming, but on May 21st, which is a Wednesday, the commissioner of the Office of Insurance Regulation is going to come here. And he'll be here at 10 o'clock in the morning, May 21st, right here in the McGuire Center. And he can explain better than anybody what's going on as far as the laws that regulate continuing care communities, which we are. So please plan to come. He'll give his input as far as what's going on. And he especially wants to hear from residents and what are our concerns and interests. So please plan to be here, and see you on the 21st. Thank you.
I do want to mention that just today I received a letter from the president of Leading Age, as Sally mentioned, indicating, and also the letter that we had received from Bennett Napier, which, you know, the bills have not progressed through the law, so therefore they're not to be considered this year. But at the end of this letter from Leading Age, there was an encouragement that they're going to work with all entities, with FLICRA, with Leading Age, to come with bills that would be would take care of our residents as well as the owners and the people that run these agencies. So I think that was sort of optimistic. We know they're going to start working together to come up with a bill that's acceptable to both groups. So that's just an update. At this time, let's see, we've got, I think Tom Napier is going to come for just a brief update.
She said brief, and she means brief. Board directors, residents, good morning. I would like to say you are all invited this Saturday, the 26th. This Saturday, you're invited. We graciously, the Westminster Oaks is going to furnish a bus for all residents to go to the airport in Tallahassee at 8. The bus is going to leave here at 8. You get back probably about before 11. You got to live a little bit this Saturday now. Get up and go. What for? Because the Honor Flight Tallahassee will arrive with 26th April of all the veterans and all the guardians that return back from Washington, D.C. We will go all day. It's next Saturday, and we'd like to have a big welcome from Westminster Oaks. We'd like to have the photograph we're going to be taking, but we need that banner that you did. See that banner there? That's the one we need to have, make sure we get a photograph. It will be in the airport, a hangar. There's a big hangar, so you'll all be able to have seats to sit inside. It's not the airport itself. It's a hangar. You go in and sit down. You'll be serving as Pepsis. You're going to have desserts. That's right. All you got to do is sit there and welcome those veterans when they get off that plane, because the plane will come right down to the hangar. It'll turn just like that, and you'll see all those veterans getting off the gangway. You're about far from here to that wall there where the plane will come in. It's going to be right, and the veterans will appreciate it, and everybody there will have a good time. See some veterans that are coming off of Westminster Oaks. They're going to be coming off too. So enjoy yourself Saturday night. Get up and live a little bit, have desserts, and desserts too. So enjoy that. Is that brief enough?
That's brief enough.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I think Shannon's going to come and give us an update. I think she's somewhere around here. I hope. There she is.
Morning. Good morning. So you've heard about the upcoming Holleran surveys. The survey will now be digital. There will be an accommodation for anybody who prefers to do their surveys in writing, but this will be the new and improved Holleran survey that you've heard about, and that will be coming out this summer. So we're not going to wait a year and a half. I know that we've recently taken surveys, but we want to know from the Holleran survey how we stack up against a nation full of life plan communities. So, so just sharing that with you, you should be hearing more about that in May and June. So Miss Robbins. You saw your poster? Has everybody else seen the poster of Miss Robbins in the front? It's awesome. She said it's too big. I said it's not. Look at Mamie's. Have you seen Mamie's banner? Oh my goodness. So I will be there to celebrate with you in May and walk you down the aisle. We'll have to coordinate and celebrate everything that you, as well as Mamie, have contributed to Westminster Oaks. And so I just want to thank you. And we're going to take lots of pictures, and I hope you have a great time. So you're aware that the Oak South pipes are in the process of being replaced. I know that's a lot of fun for the people living in Oak South. So they actually are going to be starting, this is the update as of this morning. We are working with 2 companies. So Titan, you're aware of Titan Construction, that's Che, and WW Gay, Adam. So we're coordinating with them on, we'll start taking down the outside walls first in Oak South and working on the exterior pipes. Now, these are the chilled water risers, is what they call them. And then after that, they will have to go inside your home to take care of those pipes. So we're doing the outside pipes first. And we'll continue to be communicating with you as we continue to proceed with that project. It's very important in my mind, and I thought I heard Marie say as well, that that is all done before we start on the lower level. Last thing we need to have done is for the pipes to burst and all of that wonderful work to be ruined because of those pipes. So, yes.
I would like the workers to be safe. There's insulation in the walls, and they're not wearing masks to protect themselves from the fiberglass. I already said something to one of them this morning, but I really think for their safety, they need to have better protective equipment. And I thank you for starting on my side to enable my disability not to take me on out if it got too hot. But yeah,
yes, ma'am.
it's not safe for them.
So I will definitely share that with them. So just wanted to let you know about the Oak South pipes. McGuire Light and Sound, there are a couple of things top of mind, but I will go over our capital projects for the new year. McGuire Light and Sound, the update as of this morning is all the equipment has been ordered, and we do anticipate a July installation here in McGuire, and we will keep you apprised of that impending date as well, because we know this space gets used quite a bit. So lower level reconstruction, again, that's been anticipated for this summer. So Q2 is your July, August, September quarter. We already have pulled all the permits for these. So we are moving forward with that. We'd really like to open the clinic space first, get that up and running while they continue to work down the hall through Oak South. We don't want to wait on all of it. If we can get some of it open now, we want to get some of it open now. So we did have some unanticipated costs this year. Lower level reconstruction, of course, is in the millions, at least 1.5, and then the water softener flood. So that's sitting at right about $54,000 at the moment. And of course, the Oak South pipe replacement is about $525,000. So these are some unanticipated capital items. But I did want to share with you some things that we do have on the books that we anticipate for this year. This was requested by resident council. Let us know what's going on with this. So we do have a tentative list of things that we would like to tackle this year that fall into the capital project category. 1 or 2 we've been able to foundation fund, which is really, really nice. But the natural trail bridges was one that we had anticipated from last year, and the pool house pergola was another. Azalea Chasen control access system. Housekeeping commercial washer actually has already been purchased. Health center room and bathroom renovations has actually already started. And we do have a bus. Have you seen the new bus? So we have to go get the bus wrapped. We're going to try to do that this week. So we have our design team has got all the logo and the colors and all of that, so we just have to drive the bus down there. We just had to make sure we got the insurance on it first before we take off, and that's just wise. And then we will drive it and have it wrapped and bring it back and put it into use. So that's what it's waiting on right now, is just to be wrapped, and we'll start using it. McGuire Center Light and Sound, I already mentioned that we're moving forward on that. Floridian Room Dining Room refresh is on our list of capital items for this upcoming year, and pool deck renovations. We had also said we need to renovate the pool house, restrooms and showers. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, a friend was asking about pool heater.
So the heater, we have already requested the heater to be replaced. We do have a new pool company, Swain Pools. We asked them to just, before we yank it out, take one more look at it and see if there is something that needs to be repaired that the last company did not do. I said, if that's not the case, if you can repair it, repair it. If you can't repair it, then we want to go ahead and replace it, and we want to do it now. We want a timeline. And he said, as soon as you pull the trigger, I can get it replaced in a week and a half. So that's where we are with the pool heater. And I know you're tired of dealing with it too. Renovate pool house restrooms and showers. I think that's where I left off. Re-roof Villa Homes. So that's an ongoing project that's been going on for years and years and years. We always set aside dollars. We need to replace a roof. The 9-hole putting green. Now that the pub is done, the foundation had already funded the putting green, so we're going to move forward with that. Ask Tim to go ahead and get the company out here and start working on replacing the putting green so that that's a pretty space, because we want it to be a wow, not an ow. And right now, I can't stand looking at it. So it definitely needs to be replaced. Dining room, Floridian dining room kitchen equipment. Paul put that one in from last year, some landscaping and irrigation. We know we lost, our estimate right now is about 50,000 in plants throughout the campus because of that ice storm. It's not a snowstorm, it was an ice storm. There was ice everywhere, and it killed a lot of stuff. Vital sign machines, that was requested by Jeff in the health center, and a housekeeping robot. I don't know who put that in there. And I'm not sure what it is. But I think it's like one of those discs that goes through your house and just picks up stuff. So anyway, I'm like, I want to see the housekeeping robot. So let's see what else I have to share. Oak South mailboxes and laundromat. So first floor, it's not like y'all haven't waited for years for this. We finally got a solution to the mailbox, front-loading mailboxes, so that we can enclose the back and we can put laundry room equipment. What's being recommended is commercial grade for you, and Speed Queen for Oak South washers and dryers. So that would go in the first floor. So when you look at the mailboxes, there's a door to the left. You would go in that door, and that's where all the washers and dryers would be for you. So they're supposed to ship out May 9th. We expect to actually have them here and installed at the end of the month. So you should have them by June. We're also submitting our emergency plan to the county in the next few weeks. You know, we do that every summer, update the information, the contacts, and so forth. And we also update all our reciprocal agreements, our agreements with U.S. Food, our vendors, bus lines, et cetera, so that in an emergency, we're prepared. We know where we're going, who we're taking, what we're doing, and so forth. So, of course, we rely on those agreements. We have some wonderful vendors that have come to our rescue numerous times, and so we continue to update those agreements. Typically, we're the ones hosting people from out of town. That's typically how it works. However, if we need to go somewhere, we want to be prepared for that as well. So we will be submitting that in the next few weeks, and we'll let you know via the weekly or another email. We'll send that out and let you know that we have submitted our request to the county for review of our emergency plan. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is on, but two things.
It's on.
The door that's going to be the entrance in an Oak South to the laundry room.
Yes.
That has a receptacle for us to put our mail in. Where will that be?
We will locate a new place for you to put your mail.
Okay.
We'll work with the post office to make sure that we
Okay.
find the right place for you.
Okay.
And we'll also coordinate you so you can get your mail, so that we can pull that whole mail kiosk out. It all comes out, and the new one is supposed to fit flush in that same space.
Okay.
Yes.
The other question is, when they come in Oak South, the apartments, and they cut in the walls, will we call housekeeping? Because that's going to make a mess. And do we call housekeeping and they come and clean?
We'll need to coordinate with them
Okay.
as we start going inside your units.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank
So,
you.
And if for some reason they're not there in your timeline, you just let them know. We'll make sure that we have all our folks that are in that building dialed into what's going on as well. So it's something that in the department head meetings, Tim always brings up, and Karen's right there, so they sit side by side and coordinate their efforts. He messes things up, she cleans things up. Yes. They've got their roles all ironed out. Yes, ma'am.
Shannon, on the major capital improvements, the basement and that $500,000 that you mentioned, my understanding is that capital improvements gets paid from the Orlando reserve.
It all comes from
and
entrance
doesn't come out
fees.
of Westminster Oaks here. That would
It comes
add up
from
to
all
maintenance,
entrance, it
right?
comes from our entrance fees.
Okay, good.
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise, that would be a.
It's not your
humongous
monthly
increase
maintenance,
in
no.
our Annual, monthly, okay, great.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, nobody wants to write that check.
For the Oak South Laundry Room.
Yes, sir.
For the Oak South Laundry Room, have all the connections already been made there, or is that going to be quite, because we're talking pipes, electrical, and everything there. Is that already existing? I doubt it, but for the washers and dryers.
I had Che go and look at that, and he said he could access what we had in place
How many
for
washers?
electrical, because it has a light in it. So I know there's some electricity in there somewhere, and there's got to be plumbing because there's a restroom right by it. Yeah, so Che went and looked at that, and he actually gave us a bid on that last year. And really the holdup was the mailboxes. You just can't mess with the U.S. government on people's mail, and I don't want to disturb your mail either. So they have very specific requirements as to what you can and cannot do if you're building something new versus altering something existing. And so we were able to, after much consternation, phone calls, visits to the post office, et cetera, that we were able to get authorization because it was going to go, it was the same footprint. We weren't creating any other mailbox space because it was going back in the same wall, that we were able to get it without going through any additional red tape.
How many washers and dryers will there be in that?
I don't know yet. I apologize, I don't know yet. I don't want to tell you and get it wrong. So we're going to try to use the space as best we can so that you have access to all of that and don't have to. You can still go to other floors, but you don't have to if we can coordinate with each other to get in there to do laundry. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Anybody else? We good? All right, thank you. Enjoy. Thank you.
We do have a few announcements. You know, Thursday's going to be a very busy day, so 10 o'clock in here, Wendy Tamrat is coming about our updates for My W Life. And at 2 o'clock, the forum. You know, when you look around Tallahassee, you see a lot of French influence, and we're going to get a history lesson from, I guess, Lafayette had a big influence here in Tallahassee, and it's going to be very interesting. So the forum is going to have that presentation at 2 o'clock on this Thursday. Now, Mary Ann Price has an update about Ollie.
Thank you, Jane. Ollie classes will start on May 7th and 8th here in the McGuire Center. We had registration last week, but you still have plenty of time to register. I have some of the forms with me today, So if you did not get your registration done, just get my form from me and give it back to me, and I'll take care of getting you registered. And the second announcement, really quickly, is Sunday at 1:30 in the Fireside Room. The Tallahassee Genealogical Society will be meeting, and we will have a speaker, Matthew Story, who is a historian for the State Archives, and he will be talking about censuses, American censuses prior to 1850. And those are the tricky ones. So if you're interested in genealogy or family history, come join us at 1:30 in the Fireside Room on Sunday.
I think I forgot to mention the Monday night music tonight, and I believe it's The Voice, so we encourage everybody to come. You might have seen an extra smile on my face and some of our board members' faces because our fiscal year for the Residence Council Board is from May to April, and this will be my last time to preside over the Residence Council. And I want to share that I've enjoyed this year. It's been fascinating and interesting, and to know the ins and outs of Westminster Oaks as well as the Westminster communities there in Orlando. So I want to thank all of you for all of those that participate in committees. And, you know, we have 26 committees here, and everybody works hard, and they do so much work. And I usually use the term, our chairs of those committees are what we call volunteer middle management, because I think we solve a lot of issues and that come around for our residents. And I want to especially thank Lanny Cardona, who's going off the board, and he's been a 3-year person because he was our president last year, and I want to thank him for all his guidance and mentorship. And Julian Proctor is leaving us after 2 years, and Sharon Helms is leaving us, as well as Richard Corbett. And they've been a great addition to our board, and they've always been here and helping with all of our business and our decisions, and I really want to express my appreciation to those people. And I also, well, let me mention also Gary Stillwell, our treasurer, thank goodness, is staying on the board, as well as Darlene as our secretary, as a voting member. I have a gavel that I found. Lanny gave it to me last year, and we're going to be passing the charge because I'm going to announce the new board. And Robin Gray is going to become our president of the Residence Council starting in May. And Almina Pettit, if you'd stand, please. Almina is going to be our new vice chair, and hers is a 3-year commitment, and we're happy to have her. We also have Lisa Evans, would stand. Dee Jones, is Dee here? Dee. And Beverly Booth. Where's Beverly? Beverly is a return member, so we're excited to have all of you. And so we look forward to our Residence Council. So I want to thank you, and I'm passing the gavel over. And our next meeting will be May 19th, and we hope everybody has a great week, a great month. And Robin, do you have any words? Maybe not. Oh.
No, but I have words.
Words. Ah. Oh, thank you. How lovely. Appreciate it.
In my experience, we don't need a gavel so much as we need the magic wand. Thank you.
Okay, you're free. We're adjourned. You know, I forgot Sandy.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy Sarton.
Oh, she's not here.
Well, good, she didn't hear that.
She didn't hear.